This is Ferdinand the Cardboard Stacker, and welcome to How to Play Maid Saga, the story of Falticia. This is a competitive game of learning to be a proper maid with the ultimate goal, maid school graduation. Maid Saga plays from 1 to 6 players, featuring a solo and 2-player modes, ages 14 and up, and plays around 90 minutes. By the way, this is a video rulebook, a visually concise way to learn a game. Feel free to watch this video from start to finish, or skip to the section you need more help on. And before we move on, we need your help, and you can do that by giving this video a like, sharing it to your friends and family, and of course subscribing to the channel. Oh, and give us a comment below. We would love to know how we're doing and any thoughts about this game. After the school principal's opening speech, you'll spend 3 years in the Royal Falticia Academy for Maids. You'll earn skills by attending lectures, or skip class to take extracurricular activities, and yes, they count as part of your grade. Alongside completing graduation requirements, the maid with the highest points wins the game. There are 3 parts to setting up the game. First is general game setup. Place the Academy turntable in the place where players can view it. Next, remove certain cards from each deck if playing with less than 5 players. They should have a 5+ on the bottom of the card. Separate the round actions into their 3 decks and shuffle and place them in the play area. Set aside the special character action cards nearby as well. Shuffle the item cards and place them near the timeline, leaving enough room for the shop area. Place the rest of the components, skill, coin, victory points, and 5x chips in reach of all players. Finally, place the round marker on the round 1 preparation phase of the timetable. Second is the player setup. Each player takes a student ID board. Then randomly deal or have the players choose their character cards along with their character's special card. When selected, have both cards in the ID photo section of the board with the character card side face up. Return the rest of the unused characters and special cards to the box. Next, deal out 3 graduation requirement cards to each player, in which they will select 2 and place them face down next to their character card. Return the rest of the graduation requirement cards to the box. Now each player receives 4 skill cubes of each color. Each player now decides to spend 8 ability points to begin. 4 skills must have a minimum of 1. When done, each player should add up their skills to see if it adds up to 8. Finally, it's time to set up the timetable board. First, take 2 skill tokens of each color and randomly place 7 on the round 1 lecture phase. 1 should be left over. Add that and shuffle each color skill again and place them on the lecture phase of round 2, skipping any crossed out spaces. In the third round, take another 4 skill chips of each color and place the rest as before. This will leave 1 skill chip, which is returned to the supply. Alright, that takes care of setup. Let's move on to gameplay. Your objective. The main way to gain points is to play or fulfill cards. When you have the necessary skills for a card, you score its victory points found on the top of most cards. The other way is to do well in your skills and best the rest by having the highest skills at the end of each round. There are 3 phases in each round. First is the preparation phase, which happens at the beginning of each round. The turn phase, where 7 turns are played out, and finally a round end phase where points and money are rewarded based on skill. At the beginning of each round, there is a preparation phase. First, the store restocks. In every round, draw item cards 1 less than the number of players in the game. In the case of 5 players, draw out 4 cards. Place these cards face up. In preceding rounds, draw the same number of cards even if there are remaining cards still out. Continuing on with the preparation phase, a card draft will take place. Deal out 7 cards to each player. If you have a card from the previous round, place it aside and face down. Players all begin simultaneously drafting cards by selecting a card, placing it face down in front of them, and passing the rest along to the next player in one pile. In the first and third round, pass your cards to the left, and in the second round, pass your cards to the right. Once all players have selected a card and placed down their card pile, they pick up their given pile of cards, look at them, and repeat the process. Do this until all cards are drafted. Now that each player's pile of cards have been built, the players pick up their cards and becomes their hand of cards for the round. After drafting is complete, it's time to move on to the turn phase where the main part of the game takes place. Each round has 7 turns, or terms, where players will gain skill and play their cards. Each turn begins by the round marker moving out to the next current turn on the lecture phase. The chip under the round marker is the skill that can be earned by attending the lecture. Players have a choice each turn to gain that skill or do an off-campus action. This decision is done simultaneously by all players holding out their fists on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Give a thumbs up to attend a lecture or thumbs down to do an off-campus action. For players attending the lecture, they push up their learned skill to the next number. For the players who decided to go for an off-campus action, they will select an action on their student ID board. If multiple players choose to do an off-campus action, order is determined in the following way. First, the players will find their highest card in their tableau. The player with the lowest cards makes their action first, following by the next lowest card, and so on. Players who don't have a face-up card will be considered to have a card number of 0. When making an off-campus action, do one of the 4 actions found on the student ID: study, part-time job, shopping, and maid training. Let's go ahead and take a look at these actions now. For maid training, if you have 3 skill chips of the same type from playing cards, then you can train to improve your corresponding ability by 1. These actions can be done multiple times. Then if you have at least 7 on all abilities, or at least 1 that is 12 or more, then you can obtain your provisional maid license. First, you get to flip your character card and receive a bonus of 2 coins. Then you get your character's ability card. By having your provisional maid license, you can benefit by getting a bonus from certain actions. If you do study, take a rainbow skill chip, and if you have your provisional maid license, you can receive any skill chip, but not in rainbow. You can take a part-time job. Get 3 coins from the supply, but if you have your provisional maid license, you get 2 extra coins. Finally, you can go shopping and purchase 1 item by paying the cost in coins. Once all players finish their turn, move the round marker down to the action phase. Note that some lectures on certain turns in round 2 or 3 have an X. There are no lectures on these turns, so the turn goes straight onto the action phase. In the action phase, players select a card from their hand and place it face down. When all players have chosen a card, all players reveal their cards. Each card will have a number located on the bottom, and the turn order is resolved with the lowest card going first. The card is resolved when the cost of the card is paid, conditions met, and any effects applied. Successfully played cards are kept face up in the player's tableau. Instead of playing a card, by choice, or if the player cannot simply pay for the cost or fulfill the requirements, the card is kept face down and still kept in the tableau. By doing this, the player can make an off-campus action. After all players have resolved their cards in the self-study phase, move the round marker to the next turn. At the end of each round, players will be rewarded with victory points and money. All players find out who has the highest value of each ability. In round 1 and 2, each highest ability value scores 1 point. In round 3, each highest ability value scores 2 points. Tied players all earn these rewards. Then the sum of all the abilities are added up. In round 1, the player with the highest value will earn 1 coin, then 3 coins in round 2, and 6 coins in round 3. After the rewards are given out, move the round marker to the next preparation round and begin another round. At the end of round 3, the game is over and it's time to reward final points and see who wins. First, let's score the endgame victory points. First, check and score your graduation requirements. Usually the requirements will ask to have a number of a type of card in your tableau, like 3 face-up efficiency cards. Then all cards score on your tableau. Victory points on these cards are found on the top right corner. For extracurricular action cards, refer to the chart to see how well you scored. Your provisional Maid license is worth 3 victory points. For each of your abilities, earn the bonus points by where your current value lines up with the ability score bonus on top of the tracks. Add victory points from chips, and finally 1 victory point for each 3 coins you have in a possession. The player with the most victory points wins the game. For ties, the player with the highest value of the sum of all their abilities becomes the victor. This concludes the rulebook video to Maid Knight Saga, the story of Alticia. For more information about this game and others, please visit lionwingpublishing.com. The Cardboard Stacker likes to thank the publisher of the game for sponsoring this video. And thanks for watching. For more videos like these, please hit subscribe, like this video, and come visit us on Twitter, Facebook, and our website. This is Ferdinand the Cardboard Stacker, and I'm here to remind you to keep on stacking games.